Hey there, everybody. It's Mark Curley. I'm back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about writer's block. I put out a question in a previous video. What do you do to get through writer's block? And got a huge response from my viewers. Actually, as of right now, 3,007 comments on that video. And so please bear in mind, if you asked one of those or posted one of those comments, first of all, thank you for joining in, but do keep in mind that I had to choose out of those 3,007 comments about 11 comments in the end. So don't get your hopes up too high. Don't be disappointed. I sometimes see like, oh man, I was waiting the whole time for you to answer my question or to respond to my comment, and sadly it is the odds are a little bit against you. But let's go ahead and get into it. And the first comment that I want to respond to is this one. Comes from Nothing Better to Do. And the comment is, I think deadlines and panic are sort of helpful. When I realize I have like a day left to submit something, I tell my creative block to take a hike, and I end up working properly again. I wanted to start with that one because I think that's maybe the closest to my situation. Deadlines, because I have real deadlines that I have to meet to get books done, that kind of prevents me almost from getting writer's block. I can't afford to have writer's block or artist's block in my case. I just need to get the work done. Speaking of getting the work done, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm working on something for Mastering Manga Book 2, in which I do a lesson on drawing a wooded background, trees and so forth. So that's what you're looking at right now. But yes, deadlines for people like me who do this professionally can really be a great way of just sort of forcing you to get the work done. And we'll talk a little more about that later on, about, sometimes just pushing yourself through writer's block. But I wanted to just get the first comment to be the one that sort of reflects my situation, because in a way I have to use my imagination a little in terms of talking about writer's block. I have never suffered too much from what I would call pure writer's block in terms of just flat out having no ideas or making no progress. For me, it's always been a little bit more of a gradation between my best work and then my second best work, and this isn't going so well, but I've just got to finish it anyway. And that's kind of where I am. I don't find myself staring into a blank page or crumpling up sheet after sheet of paper and throwing it all in the garbage. That I can't afford basically to be in that situation, and just, I guess I'm lucky that way that I've always got ideas of some kind. It's just a matter if they are my best ideas or not my best ideas. But anyway, let's move on to the next comment, and it is this one from Mikester966. I find that sometimes we try so hard to be original that we forget it's okay to pull ideas from some of your favorite artists. And I wanted to go to that one because that is also something that works for me a lot, is turning to other artists for inspiration. Now, you don't want to be stealing ideas from other people, and I think in terms of the details of an idea, I call it the details of an idea. Like I always say this when I do my public speaking, that my first big idea came from The Wizard of Oz in spirit. But I didn't steal the basic, the details of going down the yellow brick road and having a Tin Man and that kind of stuff. No, I sort of borrowed the basic concept of a child from the real world goes off to a fantasy land of some kind and has an adventure of some kind. And that sort of, for me, is the way my creative process works. I don't necessarily completely come up with the idea all on my own. I'm inspired by someone else's story, and then I just sort of change it around until I make it my own. So that's a good way sometimes. I think this idea of staring into a blank page can be very frustrating, and feeling, as I think some young artists do, that you must be absolutely 100% original, and all your ideas have to come from within you, and you can't be getting anything from anyone else. I think that's a little bit unrealistic. Most artists throughout history have built upon the work of other artists. So, and then I think, this third one here ties into that, from Fagelboo. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I try to analyze or even copy another artist's work. This works to make you work on your craft during a period of little or no creativity. I like that one, the sort of idea that maybe you are in a bad patch and you are not able to create anything, but instead of just sitting there doing nothing, you're doing studies of other artists' work. People who've watched my videos have heard me say this before, that, doing copies, very faithful drawings that are reproducing a great artist's illustration, that's the best way to learn. That's the way I was taught. You pull out a drawing by Rembrandt and you copy it line by line, and that's how you unlock the secrets of Rembrandt's drawing technique. We're not talking about tracing, of course. You don't learn anything by tracing, but side by side, doing an exact copy of someone else's work can be a very useful way to learn. And so that sounds like that was Fagelboo's way out of creative block, to sit down and do some studies of other people's drawings. And that could, I think, it could be applied to music or writing. There are ways of sort of sitting down and copying other people's work in such a way that you are studying it and learning from it, not necessarily creating anything new yourself. All right, here's the fifth one. The fourth one. Boy, I got to work on my counting here. And I like this one because this is representative. Actually, fourth and fifth kind of go together. Representative of a certain attitude towards this topic. And get ready for this one. It comes from Artistic Contingent. And the comment is this: artist's block does not exist. I personally don't draw much, but I write a lot. I write what I think of, I write the insane ideas, or I write all the little things which don't matter or won't ever be seen. Writers write. I like that. That is what I call the sort of drill sergeant, tough love, boot camp approach. There's no such thing as artist's block. All of you, get to work. I think that is a legitimate point of view. Some people believe that this concept of writer's block is a lie. That you're giving up too easily, and you should just keep your nose to the grindstone, keep working. And it doesn't matter, if the ideas are good or not. You just keep pushing it out, and that is the way through. And these people would, I think, regard the whole idea of writer's block as a little bit of an excuse. And so I thought I wanted to give some representative to that, representation to that point of view. And number 5 kind of goes along with that, from Shae Aogidi. Hope I'm saying that right. Shae Aogidi. Number 5, my teacher says to force yourself to draw even when you don't want to. When you become an animator, you don't get to pick and choose when you can and can't draw. That sort of ties back into that first comment. When you're on deadline, you can't afford to have writer's block. And, this actually is very close to what my old teacher, David Small, would say to me. Just, you force yourself through it. Keep working. Don't stop. Don't throw down the pencil. Just keep at it, and eventually you will get through it to the other side, and you will start doing good work again. And I saw a fair number of comments that were kind of along those lines. But I thought, interestingly, comment number 6 is exactly the opposite advice, and it is this, from High Caliber Archer: take a break. Don't touch paper for a week, a month, a day. Get your mind on something else for a while. And I must say that I saw a great many comments that were along those lines, that same sort of idea. Get away from it. You need a break. Stop trying. It's the exact opposite advice. Stop trying to force it. Just go away, do something else, take a long walk. And then I saw some people, like if you're trying to write something, they would say, well, stop trying to write and draw instead. Or if you're trying to draw and it's not working out for you, stop drawing and write instead, or turn to music, or do something else. So I think it's interesting, and I think, different people will find different pieces of advice work for them. So that you may be the kind of person that it benefits you to try just forcing your way through it, or you might be the kind of person, sounds like this is a little more common, who needs a break, and you need to get away from it. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. I think everyone finds their own things that work best for them. So I thought it was interesting that you had completely conflicting advice there, but you can take your pick Number 7 here from Mr. Kikis. I hope I'm saying that right. And it is, I spitball ideas with my brother who helps give me brilliant ideas. My brother has actually sparked many ideas for my story. I like this idea of collaboration. I think when you are all alone facing the page by yourself, it's a very lonely place to be, especially if things are not going that well. And you may be the kind of person that works better with a collaborator. I know this is kind of funny. It seems unrelated, but I used to be a fan, still am a fan of Monty Python. And I've read some books about how those guys used to work with each other. And there were pairings of the comedian writers would sit down and write together. And at least two of them, there are two groups there, were breaking down into the sort of writing pairs, and they would not be working on their own. They would be in the office together trying to drum up the idea as a pair and bouncing ideas off of each other, and some people just work better that way. So I wanted to get that in there for sure. You may be that kind of person, and maybe it's if you're having troubles with writer's block, it might be good for you to collaborate with someone else, and that might certainly sounds like more fun, doesn't it? I mean, the problem is if you both just start playing video games all day, you are not going to get anywhere. But if both of you, if you guys can keep yourselves working hard on whatever it is, that could be something that helps you through it. Let's move on now to number 8, Mega Anatune. Says, exercise works really well. Drinking lots of water and some clear breathing. All this helps with blood flow and brain function, and I believe it helps me out creatively quite a bit. I liked the sort of hands-on physical or physiological sort of approach on this one, that believing, you need to exercise your body. You need to watch what you're eating. You need to do all this kind of stuff, and they found that helps them through their periods of creative block. And I confess I have not really focused too much on that in terms of, I need to go get some exercise, and that's why my creative block is, I'm having these problems with my creativity. But it got me to thinking maybe there is indeed this sort of physical aspect to it, that if you simply got more exercise, that might help you through this bad creative period. Let me know how that goes for you. And if you, I exercise every day anyway, just because it makes me feel better as a person in general. But certainly it can't hurt as a way out of creative block. Here we go, number 9 from Happy Bee 232. Listen to music without words. I feel that listening to this type of music inspires creativity that isn't influenced by lyrics. Now, I have to say that as I chose this, I could have chosen any one. I would guess out of those 3,000 comments, as many as 600 of them said, listen to music. I listen to music, and that helps get me through creative block. And so I wanted to make sure I got at least one in here that was representative of that point of view, that music is a great way of getting inspired or somehow helping you through these difficult periods. But I liked this one, that it was so specific, that Happy Bee 232 said, listen to instrumental music rather than music that has lyrics. I just thought that was sort of an interesting point of view, that that person found, at least, that specifically instrumental music was the way through. But I saw just all kinds of comments about music, the importance of using music to get through creative block. There, some people are like listening to thrash metal, and other people it's classical music. I listen to the harp, or whatever it is. Everyone has their own, of course, different preferences when it comes to music in general, but it sounds like that extends to this idea of using it to get through creative block as well. We're coming down to the end of my list here. Number 10, from A Dash of Imagination 1. Honestly, the best advice is from Kikis delivery service. When the artist was stuck in a rut, it's all about finding the will and the drive that made art fun. I loved seeing that one, and I wanted to join in there in recommending the Miyazaki movie, Kiki's Delivery Service, or Majo no Takyubin, as it is called in Japanese. Really just a great movie, period. You ought to watch it anyway, just because it's so good. But also, I had kind of forgotten about the fact that there is an artist character in that movie that is going through this exact situation, or at least talking about it, I know, artistic block. And I thought, boy, if that's a great way to sort of get some advice on this issue in a way that's really fun, watching the movie Kiki's Delivery Service. As I said, just a fantastic animated film. And indeed, it does confront head-on this idea of artist's block, or sort of, I think maybe just sort of hitting a period of slump, you might call it, where things are just not going so well for you as an artist. And I wonder if Miyazaki himself did not have some issues with that, and that was why he wanted to work it into that film. And finally, number 11, this is kind of a joke, but I couldn't resist including this one. It says, from Tsunayoshi-ju, I hope I'm saying that, Tsunayoshi-ju. The advice is this: break stuff and cry. It works! I don't know if that's really great advice. Break stuff and cry. But it sure did make me laugh when I saw that. And I thought, yeah, maybe that's the way you feel when you've gone through really bad, artist's block or creative block. You really do just want to break stuff. Make sure it's nothing valuable, or you will get busted. But I wanted to end on a lighter note there. Or maybe that's a heavier note. I'm not sure. I did really enjoy reading all of your responses to this. Thank you so much. I really am delighted that you enjoy these types of videos in which I ask you all a question and then get your response. Just to sort of quickly let you know about Mastering Manga 2. Still working on this book. I should be done by early in the new year, but the way the publishing industry works is that it takes often as much as a full year after the book is done for it to be published. I'm going to have to get the exact details on that. But so instead of people asking, when is the book coming out? Just bear in mind, we've got a while before this thing will actually be in stores. Just the fact that you see me working on it right now tells you that. But I'm putting my best into it. I am not allowing creative block to get in the way. And you can see that at least part of the book will be devoted to backgrounds. And those of you who have Mastering Manga 1 know that I devoted a lot of that book to perspective and these kind of backgrounds that involved rulers, and making all these straight lines. And so with Mastering Manga 2, to get into some new territory, I'm doing more organic backgrounds like this, trees, and like a rainy day scene. That's one thing that I want to cover. But anyway, I have gabbed for long enough. Thank you so much for leaving comments on that last video. I am really blown away by your support. And sorry that this is not a how to draw video, really, although some of you may get some pointers. Who knows, just by looking at what I was drawing today. But otherwise, you can rest assured that next week's video will be a proper how to draw video. But for now, let's lay down this pencil. I want to thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back with another one real soon.